Welcome. This is East Allen County Schools' My Big Campus tutorial for using quizzes. This is one of the most powerful features of My Big Campus. This tool will cut down time spent on grading. And as a teacher, that is exactly what we are looking for. You can create your own worksheets as quizzes that will automatically be graded for you. So let's get started. To create a quiz, click on Create New Quiz found at the top of the schoolwork page. So right now I've logged in. This is my activity page. I'm going to go to my schoolwork page on the left-hand side, and Create New Quiz is in the upper right-hand corner. Create New Quiz. Okay, the first field that you come to is the type. There are 4 types of quizzes. There is the assessment. This type of quiz helps to determine a student's strengths or weaknesses in a subject area, but this is not a graded quiz. Graded. This is the one that I think most teachers are going to be going for. This type of quiz tests a student's knowledge of a subject area. Students score points for correct answers, and yes, this is the one that gets graded for you. Then there is practice. This type of quiz helps students demonstrate their knowledge of the subject area and develops successful test strategies. And then there is survey. This type of quiz allows students to choose an option and then compiles the results for you. In other words, it allows you to give them a survey. So feel free to try out the different types of quizzes, but I'm going to show you the graded version. First off is the title field, and that's the title of my quiz. The next field is description. This is a short field where you would simply give a blurb or description of what the quiz is to the student. So it's a short quiz over Brian's Winter covering chapters 1 through 4. The next field down is who you're assigning it to. You can either assign it to an entire group or several groups, or you can assign it to specific members in a group class. Now the next 3 fields I would highly recommend. Shuffle questions. This option will randomize the order of the questions when a student takes the quiz. So think about that in terms of whether or not students can look at each other's answers. Shuffling the questions will help avoid situations like that. The next one, shuffle answers. This option will randomize the order of the answers within each question. So if you have a multiple choice quiz, A, B, C, D, E, it will shuffle up the answers while still holding true to what the correct answer is. The third field, show results. This option allows students to see their own quiz results upon completion of the quiz, and it's instantaneous. It's instant feedback. It allows the students to see all correct and incorrect answers on the quiz. I would also, if I was a teacher still, use that feature every single time. Now, the next line is a very important line, and I'm going to try to reiterate this 2 or 3 times. Once a quiz has been published, you will not be able to edit the quiz. In other words, as I go through this process and create my quiz, once I've published it, I can't go back and change it. Okay? So I'm going to slide down here and publish on. There are 2 calendars up. One says publish on, and then one is when you want the student to submit it by. So if I want this quiz published right away for my students, then I could set that date. If I want it to be published tomorrow, I could set that date as well as time down here. And then the next calendar, when I want the student to have the quiz submitted back to me. So in other words, if I want to give the quiz tomorrow, I would publish it tomorrow morning, but I want the students to have it submitted by either tomorrow night or the following day, then I can adjust that over here. I'm going to scroll down here, and now I'm going to create the questions, and it's really very simple. There's a couple of basic fields. This is the question field. So here is where I would start typing in my quiz questions. The next field down is multiple choice or true false. You can choose which type of quiz question to ask. Then how many points is this one question worth? So here is where you would put the answers to the question. Okay, so answer number letter A, letter B, letter C, letter D. If you want to add more answers, so if you want A, B, C, D, E, or F, or G, you simply click on the box that says add another answer. If you want to get rid of answers, you simply delete the answers you want to get rid of. It's really very simple. This first column here, if you click on this button here under correct answer, then that is what you have assigned as being the correct answer to your question. This last button down here, add another question, adds the entire set of fields, so that would be question number 2. So here's question number 1, question number 2, and if I wanted to add another question, that becomes question number 3, and you simply type in your questions and your answers. Or you can of course bring up a Word document and simply cut and paste your questions and answers in. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to show you the Save and Continue or Create Quiz. When you click on Create Quiz, you now have created that quiz and you have published that quiz, and therefore it cannot be changed. Okay, now I'm going to pause the video right now so I can put in some of my questions and answers for you to see. I have now put in 9 of my 10 questions, and it has taken me approximately 6 minutes according to my watch. So I'm going to show you the last question, and what I've done is I've brought up my quiz. This is a quiz that I used as a teacher. It's just on a plain old Word document. Now keep in mind, this is a MacBook Air machine, so it has a slightly different view than a Windows machine. And I could either type into the fields. This is my Big Campus page over here. I'm working on the quiz, and so here are all the quiz questions that I put in over the last 6 minutes. I'm going to go down to the very last question. And literally this is how easy it is. You simply drag the questions over into the field, and there's the question appearing in the field. And now my different answer choices, one of them, the second one, the third one, and the last one. That's literally how fast. And then the answer to my question was this one. And my 10 questions are now completed. That's literally how easy it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the student's perspective on this quiz. I logged in as one of my students, and so this is his activity page, and I'm going to go to his schoolwork link on the left hand side, and I'm going to go to the tab that says Assigned to You, and there's the quiz that I just created. So I'm going to click on the link, and here's my quiz. Now I'm going to pause the video again because all the student has to do is simply click, there are my 10 questions, is simply click what is the correct answer and then click Submit. So I'm going to pause it while I do that. So I have now clicked on the 10 questions, 1 through 10. You'll notice I've answered some of the questions. Now for this video tutorial, I've purposely missed 2 of the 10 questions. So as a student, I will have answered these questions, and then down at the bottom you'll notice it says Submit. Now watch how fast this is. It says, are you sure you want to submit your answers? Now I like this feature here, and instantaneously, it says in the upper right hand corner, quiz was successfully taken. Instantaneously, the student has feedback. So I got that one right, that one right, that one right, that one right. There's one of the ones I got wrong, and it gives me what the correct answer was, shows me the one I had chosen in red and the correct answer in green. And there's the next one I got wrong, and I got the rest of them right. So I got 8 out of 10, and it was instantaneous feedback for the student. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log back in as the teacher so you can see what the teacher sees. Log back in as the teacher. Once again, my activity page pops up. So I'm going to go to Schoolwork, into my teacher page. I'm going to go to Schoolwork, again on the left-hand side, and I want to go to the tab that says Assigned by You. And there's the quiz. So now I want to take a look at how many students have completed my quiz. And there's some information. And once again, I want to reiterate that a quiz cannot be edited once it gets published. So right now I've published this quiz. One of my students has finished this quiz, but I can no longer go in and edit the quiz. So now you see some information about the quiz. You see a class average score of 80%. And I want to talk about the tabs here at the top first. So I cannot edit the quiz, but I could delete the quiz. So if I wanted to delete the quiz entirely, maybe I'm just not satisfied with the quiz, I would click on that and it's going to say, are you sure? I could click OK, and at that point I would delete it, but I'm going to go ahead and cancel because I don't want to delete it for this video tutorial. You could also create a template of this quiz, and I click on that and it creates a template of the quiz. So if you want to give a similar quiz, I just went back, then you can create a similar quiz. You can also look at the student view of the quiz. So let's go to that. This was what the students saw, okay, which is what you just saw a couple seconds ago that I completed. Okay, so now let me talk about this information here. What you see here is the average score of the submitted quizzes, and it's being displayed in a green colored box. For scoring purposes, the following percentages determine the color of the box. It's green if the average score of your class is between 80 and 100%. It will be gold if your score is between 60 to 79%. And it will be red here in this box if your average score of your class is between 0 and 59%. The number of quizzes that have been submitted will display in the gray box. So as you can see, I've had 1 of 3 quizzes submitted. Down here in the submissions section, what it gives you a list of the students. You can see I had 3 students built in my class. 1 of the students has submitted it. That's the submissions tab. I can also click on the question statistics tab. Now what this does is it calculates my data for me. So right now what I have is every single question, and I have the percentage of students who got that question right and a count of the number of students who got that question right. So it does my data for me. Now obviously I have a very small class of 3 students, but if you have a regular sized class of like 25, 30 students, then this is much different data, and you're going to have a breakdown of different percentages of each of the 4 questions and how many students got that right, or obviously in some cases wrong. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk about some of these other tabs here. The Needs Grading tab is quizzes that were not the graded kind that could potentially need grading. Okay, and you can sort them by name, by group, and by submissions. Okay, these are once again the types that are not the graded quizzes. The Assigned by You tab right here is a list of all the quizzes that you have assigned to various groups, and once again you can sort them by name, by group, by number of submissions, by start time, by end time, etc., etc. I've shown you the Templates tab. So there are some of the templates that I have created. And I can use those templates. I can delete those templates. I can also sort them by name or by type. Okay, so in the Templates tab, in the 3rd column, the Deploy option. So let's say I wanted to take that most recent quiz and use it to create, let's say, for example, a quiz covering chapters 5 through 8. I would click Deploy, and then I would take that quiz. So here's the quiz that I used, created a couple of minutes ago. It's being used by my students now, and I would start making changes to it. I would change the name, obviously I would change the description, and I would obviously change the due date, and I would obviously change the questions. That's how templates work for you. And then once again, if I publish this quiz, I can no longer edit this quiz. But this is a template, and so I can change it. Congratulations, you have now completed East Allen County Schools video tutorial on how to create and use quizzes.